Hello everybody, welcome back. My name is Orpheus and this is Orpheus Plays, and if you didn't know before, this is Blade and Sorcery. Why did I do a different intro this time? I don't know, my brain just isn't working right today, but that's a consequence of having a brain injury. So hi, how you doing? We're playing Blade and Sorcery like I said. We are in the ancient ruins today doing survival mode. If you haven't done survival mode yet, I suggest you try it. It's on the main map there. Some people have had some difficulty finding it. I actually did a video on it. It's how to find survival game mode. It's pretty simple. Let's see, should I link it up here? Maybe I'll link it up there. Anyways, it's in my playlist. It's pretty easy to find. But whether it's day or night, I welcome you to our little community here. And yeah, let's get things going today. It is a great day for murder. Now, survival mode, if you're not aware, 3 weapons come out. I choose one of them, and I completely wreck the days of everyone that comes out to meet me. I think this one is kind of what I have to choose because it's the most awesome, and it looked like it said Jumanji on it. That says Jumanji. Okay, it's not spelled the way that I thought, but, you know, we'll try to avoid any strange animals. Alright, so what did I want to talk about today? You know, I was just looking into this. There's some documentaries I've been watching on YouTube, and one of them was on the history of entertainment and how that came about. Where's my first victim? I need to do my first slow motion kill of the day. How is that going to happen if I don't have one? Okay, let's go find my first victim. Anyway, so it was like the history of entertainment, and they were talking about like the first movies that were coming out. Like, what was it? The Great Train Robbery was one of the first ones that people saw. It was the train that was like flying. Oh, she's over there. She's very confused. Me. Okay. It was Great Train Robbery? I can't remember. Anyway, it was that train that comes flying at the screen. No, people did not go jumping out of the way. People weren't stupid back then. They knew it was a flat screen. Anyway, so since, you know, I didn't actually do the first slow motion kill of the day. I just walked right up to her and destroyed her. But instead, let's see if I can catch her. Can I catch her? Can I catch her? Nope, I'm not gonna be able to. Ugh, poor thing. Anyway, let's do our real first traditional slow motion kill of the day. Let's see if I can jump on him. Oh, uppercut. No? How about in the barrows? Does that please you, my lords and ladies? Anyway, so like movies have been around for a very long time, and so I started wondering, because I was really into just a little waggle in his face, and that does it. But I was looking. I really have been into drive-in movies for most of my life, and well, since I was old enough to drive. Ever since I can remember, I always wanted to go to drive-in movies. But, you know, ever since I could drive, there was a drive-in movie theater that was near where my dad worked. And it was outside of a really crappy area. But that area was pretty decent. Man, my victims today are having some real trouble finding me. Your GPS off, folks? What's going on? Anyway, so there was one right there. It was in, you know, a mildly crap part of town, but not terrible or anything. And so I started going to this movie theater. And if you're not familiar with the concept of how these things work, you go, you pay a price, and then you get to see a movie. Well, there's also a second movie that they will show at the same, like right after that. Is this, like, guy not dead? And that's what's holding this up. You go and you get to see a second movie for the same price. It's included. You get to be in your car. You get to relax. You get to chill out and do whatever you want. Where is my victim? I don't see anyone here. Okay, this is kind of sus. What is going on? Someone stuck somewhere? Someone I think is stuck somewhere. Hello? Are you? Is anyone here? I'm by myself and it feels very lonely. Boy, if you're seeing where this NPC is, please mention it to me. Oh, wait, there she is. She's in the floor. Well, hello. Nope, goodbye. Okay, I'm gonna have to pull you out the old-fashioned way. Now we fixed that. Oh, good lord, I'm sorry for that little delay. Anyway, so this place was right near where my dad worked. It was kind of cool. And so you pay one price, and it was usually like low price, like, $3, $4, whatever. You got to see 2 movies. They weren't necessarily first run movies, but most of the time they were like, within a couple of weeks or a month or so when they got released. So you get to see 2 movies for the price of one. But here is the cool part. You can stay because they show the movies again after that. So as soon as it's dark, and let's say it's, sometime between spring and summer, so dark, sunset comes around 7:30. So you figure each movie, plus all the little fluff stuff in between, nice shot, plus all the fluff stuff in between and all the intermission stuff, and let's all go to the lab, right, okay. It's about 2 hours per movie. Let's say an hour and a half. No, but 2 hours combined for each one. So 8, 9, 10, 11. So you're at 11 o'clock. You can go home after that, of course, or you can decide to stay again, right? So you stay from 11, 12, 1, 2 o'clock in the morning. Now, you're like, well, why would you watch the same movies twice? Well, there are some tricks that you can do. So most of these places have a layout where there's like a main kind of snack bar place in the middle. You go in and it's essentially parking lots, right? So there's a parking lot that faces off this way and there's a big screen. There's a parking lot that faces off this way with a big screen. There's one over here. And depending upon how many, screens they have, they've got them all facing in different directions, right? But the way that you hear them, right? The way that you hear these things is with the radio. Boy, this thing looks... What is this again? Zweihander. Oh, two-hander. Oh, it's German. Ooh, blade handing. So the way that you get the audio for the movies is they broadcast it on the radio. All right, so your FM radio. Now, it used to be... They also have the option in a lot of these places that are trying to be... retro. They have the speakers. Nice. They have the speakers that you hook onto the inside of your car. Those silver, boxy kind of rounded speakers. Love those things. If anyone has one of those they want to give me, please. But you'd have those that would hang in there. But most modern places, and most places, I mean, for a while, have had the FM broadcast. So what you do is you can watch two movies, and then you can kind of lean around in your car and go look at this one. Or they encourage you to get out of your car and have a little barbecue right there. There's a playground up in front of the screen and stuff. So you can get out of your car and set up your chairs, watch these movies with a set of headphones on, your radio, like your Walkman. If they, whatever, like a little pair of headphones. And then you can all turn your chairs and watch the one over here. So you have, 8 hours essentially of just entertainment for like $3. And you have all the wonderful crappy snack foods, that you get at those places. And they usually have like hot dogs and burgers and everything. A lot of places will kind of cater to it in the local business area. So you have like a Pizza Hut or a Little Caesars or something near there. You can pick up a pizza and go. Of course, you can kind of bring whatever your own party favors you got going on. It's a little smoke or whatever. Be smart, folks. And, you just get to enjoy the movies. Now, what I was interested in is, when did these things start, right? It couldn't be just as simple as okay, well, movies are a thing. Okay, well, now cars are a thing, right? And so maybe at the same time they kind of came together, and I was right. In the 1930s, the first drive-in movies started popping up around the world, and in the United States especially. And what I find fascinating is they really didn't hit their peak until the 60s, right? When 1950s, 1960s, when Elvis was a thing, right? And when they started releasing these movies like Beach Blanket Bingo and all these, they were teen mischief movies, right? Is the basic plot for a lot of them went we're all teens on a beach, and you guys are the old squares, and you want us to get off the beach because this community doesn't like dancing. Basically the plot of Dirty Dancing and Break-In and Break-In 2 Electric Boogaloo and stuff like that. You know, your basic plot. Bad guys in this case, the old squares are like trying to, don't you come to this beach and party, and like so everyone will come out and Elvis will come out and do a little, come to the beach, we get to do, you know, kind of that kind of thing. And everyone's in bikinis and swimsuits and stuff, and that really pushed the barriers of like entertainment back then. Because we're talking about a time that normally in society was really strict and rigorous and religious, and the standards were very high for what you did in moral society. People would judge you for life and jobs and relationships based upon your haircut, for God's sake, you know? Like, so these movies, it would usually be something like one of those teen little, you know, raunchy comedy things, but nothing ever happened that was like actually raunchy in them. There might have been a couple of kisses or something. People might have been dancing close to each other on the beach to some, you know, surf music or something. But there was never any, like, real scandal in there. But the thing is, okay, there were two odd effects. Wow, I have a bow sword. You are screwed now. I can launch arrow. No, okay. But the people got outraged about them because it was the same thing as it is today in a lot of bows are really okay. It was kind of the same thing as it is today. Someone sees the title of something, right? Beach blanket bingo, right? And some of the Puritan sort of people in society will go, oh, that's horrible, that's disgusting, it's morally bankrupt, and it's going to destroy society, and they've never gone to see it, so they don't know what the hell it's about. And if they did, they'd realize it wasn't really all that dirty. It was just, you know, kind of a goofy thing. Now, they'd often pair these with, like, sci-fi movies. So a lot of the crap sci-fi movies, like, you know, the giant spider that ate Manhattan, or, you know what I'm talking about, these really terrible movies with really terrible effects, those came about around the same time. And the reason is these movie companies were trying to get people to go to the drive-in movie theaters. They were trying to get them to go and buy the snack foods, because a lot of them owned some of the movie theaters, at least had rights in them. And also, so the people that own the drive-in movie theaters, they'd want more of these movies so that more people would come in. And so they're paying big money for these things. And you got huge groups of people going to them. And there's huge event. Boy, if you ask your grandparents or great-grandparents, depending upon, you know, what kind of age group you're in, if you ask them what it was like to be in the drive-in movie era, where they would, you know, you pay usually by the car in a lot of... What? Take the pommel off, huh? Well, there's a neat little thing. I can do a pommel strike. I throw it at him. Neat. Can I put it back on? That would be helpful. Okay. Never mind. Let's throw it at her. Nope, I suck. So, the culture, you pay at some places, you pay one price for the car, and they would, like, no joke, they would pack the trunk full of people so that they could get them all in for free. And, you know, the theory was y'all just kind of pile out of the trunk, no one's paying attention. And these days, you know, like, you can't really do something like that at a drive-in movie theater. Not enough people go. But back then, the place was packed every night. And so you just have people, like, you know, clown car piling out of a trunk. And so, okay, so how does that pertain to your old pal Orpheus here? Well, if you've watched some of my videos about how I grew up in a very weird environment when I was a kid. My parents were incredibly strict, but incredibly hypocritical about things. Like, they would say that I shouldn't do certain behavior when it was something that they did, you know, just years before they told me not to, or the rules didn't make sense. One of the things that was especially bad is my mom would, like, have a conversation with me about something that she didn't want me to do, like smoking or, you know, whatever it was, right? And she would just talk at me about it. Like, and I say talk at me because that's what it was. It's like, ma, you shouldn't do, you should do, and you're going to do this in the future, and there's no question, ma. And then she'd go, right? And I'd go, yeah. And she'd go, okay, then it's settled. And she would go on about her business thinking, okay, well, that's how it is now. And it's like, all right, I didn't really agree to any of that. All right, whatever. So it was a very weird environment, and any time that I was home, there was like this invisible static everywhere between me and my parents and my brother. Not my brother with my parents, me with him and my parents. And it was always there, and there's always this tension. And I always learned how to be really quiet and not get any attention on me, because attention meant that something could go wrong. Well, so I started thinking about, how do I opt out of this, right? How do I, is there someone stuck in the floor over here again? How do I get to the point where I can feel safe? Well, I started thinking, well, maybe these drive-in movies are the secret. And I started going to the movies. And I started going to the movies more. I have a little display thing, a little framed thing where the match was over, at least that round. That's why there wasn't anything else. Duh. Is this just a little tiny sigh? It's a tech peak. Okay, maybe some of you can tell me how to pronounce that. But so I started going to these things, and I was like, this is perfect. I can get a little bit of smoke. Some of my movies, my content on where I talk about how stupid it was, me trying to find that in the inner city by myself. Like just stopping on a street corner somewhere and asking. But so I would get a little of that. I'd get a pizza and some pop or something, and I'd go and I probably just triggered a lot of you with saying pop. Relax. I grew up in places where it's pop, and now I live somewhere where it's soda, and so I tried to just for fun say pop. But so I'd sit there and I'd just enjoy the movies, and it was 8 hours at night that I didn't have to come home. And the hope was that by the time I got home, everyone was asleep and I didn't have to deal with anything, and I had another night that was safe, right? Well, I started started to become a connoisseur of that driving. Right, so I knew all the little secrets on where to park and what angle to have your car at, and like the perfect way to do things. And this drive-in movie theater was really unique because it stayed open year-round. Now, a lot of places will only be open during the spring and summer, maybe, into the fall, the late fall, until it starts getting cold. This place was open 24/7, well, not 24/7, 365 a year. They were open on Christmas, they were open on New Year's, they were open on every single night of the year. And through blizzards and snowstorms, I would go in there. They actually had another thing. So they would have the speakers, right? But they would also have these little heaters that were made of the same kind of metal. They were, it was basically, it looked like a regular fan, except it was facing upwards and had a huge heating coil in that thing, and a metal bottom on it. And the idea is, you take this thing and you put it on the footboard of your car, or somewhere like in the car, and it actually works to keep your car warm enough to enjoy the movie without having to run your engine the whole time. So they had those, and I would just huge blizzards. You can hardly see anything, and I'm watching a movie, Or some of my favorite ones when it was just an absolute downpour, like thunderstorms galore, and the rain is so heavy I have to have my windshield wipers on maximum in order to see the movie. So it's like there were several movies in the early 2000s, like late 90s, early 2000s, that I just saw with windshield wipers going, which was awesome. But part of like what goes with this message is like I had to use that as a defense mechanism, okay, in order to feel safe. It was a thing that comforted me and that made me feel okay, because for that 8 hours, right, that was the concept that I called my rolling couch. I had a pretty decent sized car at that point. I think it was like a Crown Victoria or something. It was an older Crown Vic. And, the square boxy ones that look like the old cop car. Not the rounded ones, the 80s ones. Ooh, gotcha. And so I had this thing, and it was just, the front bench seat, right? That went all the way back and forth, reclining, electric reclining and everything. And so I used to go to the drive-in movie theater. I used to go and sit in parking lots during the day before I went to the drive-ins. A lot of them I would spend in parking lots of places like Walmart or a Kmart or a Best Buy or something like that. I would go to malls, but not as much, because a lot of the times I just wanted to be by myself, right? Parks. I would go to parks and listen to the radio and read books and listen to music and stuff. But the point was really that I felt so unsafe at home that I found almost any way that I could avoiding being around them. And I think if you yourself are living with kind of a difficult situation like that, and that is a feasible thing that you can actually go and do to relieve stress and get away from some of the things, because sometimes, man, oh good lord, sometimes the only thing that you can really do to survive is just remove yourself from the situation, right? Just get away, like physically, not like just unplug mentally and just stare at the ceiling and right? But get physically out of the situation, remove yourself. And that's kind of what that did for me. And maybe, just maybe, that'll work for you. Now, I was fortunate. I found drive-in movie theaters, or a drive-in movie theater within a reasonable drive from my house. And I think we should bring something like that back, because there's a certain sociality, like there's a social aspect to it that it was really magical, because I was there on some nights where it was like a community thing and there were a lot of people, like some of the theaters were completely packed, and I got to see what that was like. Just kids running everywhere having fun, and people barbecuing and sitting on top of their vans, and just what you would imagine the drive-in movie theaters were like back in the 50s and 60s and 70s. Now, fortunately, there are a lot of places that still do that sort of thing, right? It's becoming sort of a revival thing. And the one that I used to go to, still open, they refurbished themselves, and there's a ton of them. You can do a Google search, an online search, and you will find there are organizations and revival sort of groups, and there are owners that are bringing them back and stuff. I would, if you have the chance, right? If there is a drive-in movie theater within about, a decent drive, something that you wouldn't mind either going and seeing some movies and then driving back home later, or go somewhere and stay the night so you can like get that experience of seeing like 4 movies, right? Go and do it. It is incredible. It's magical. You really feel like you're connected to, like, just, it's fun to be just outdoors and see the stars and hear the traffic and stuff in the distance and people laughing in their cars and having a good time and everything. It's really fun, and it's something that I think I think it's something that a lot of you would enjoy. It is definitely something that took a lot of my younger years and time, saved me from a lot of insanity that was going on in my family, and kind of kept me as happy as I could be during some nights. But it really was a nice thing. So I suggest you, after you watch this video, go look up some places that have drive-in movie theaters. Try to make your way to one of them. They're incredibly fun. All right, anyway, nostalgia with your old pal Orpheus. Anyway, we'll see you in the next one. Do good, continue to do good, and you know what? Treat yourself well, because you deserve it. Okay, see you in the next one. Bye.